Welcome again to the New My podcast. I'm about to talk about a very sensitive topic. So please take a seat on the couch as usual and join me. Let us unpack Barcelona's corruption in Spanish football. Yes. From the period of 2001 to 2018, they paid, I think, an amount about 8.4 million euros to a guy named José María Enríquez Negreira. You heard me right. For short, I will say Negreira. Now, you might be wondering who Negreira is. I'm going to tell you. You might have been seeing this on social media, but you don't have time to piece the information together. And this is why I'm here. So you don't have to worry about it. I got you. So, Negreira was a referee between the period of 1977 to 1992 and was the vice president of the technical committee of referees from 1994 to 2018. And we're looking at a period of 2001 to 2018 right now. Yes. So that is who Negreira is. Now, think about it. The vice president of the technical committee of referees. I think you will not underestimate the level of influence that comes with that position at all, except if you want to be subjective. All right. But every objective mind will understand that that is enormous power without question. Having said that, let me throw the question of ethics and professional conduct. All right. Why would a club pay someone with that level of influence and in that position for whatever consultancy that is? You tell me. You tell me. So before you start with, oh, well, I'm a Real Madrid fan and that is the reason why I'm saying this, answer that question to begin with. All right. Just solve that ethical question right there really quick. And also, as a matter of fact, it was not like, well, there was a public announcement made and all the other teams in the league, they were all aware that, all right, Barcelona is currently paying the current vice president of the technical committee of referees for whatever it is. And I'm going to get to that in a bit. But before I do, let me tell you how those payments were made. Apparently, they were made through companies, all right? Companies that in actual fact, all right, and I'm going to keep it short, they do not really engage in economic activities, so they are called shell companies. Pretty much the money comes in and the money goes out. All right, that is what it is. So there are a couple of companies. All right, one was the Daznil 95 SL that is owned by Negreira. All right, you have the Nilsat LCP that is linked to Negreira and his son Javi Enriquez Romero. There was another one, Soccercom, as well, linked to both of them. And there are other couples, right? So there are multiple companies, all right, Barcelona was making payments through. And mind you, Barcelona made payment even after Negreira was out of office until the Spanish tax authority flagged it. That was when they stopped. So who knows, they wanted some continuity. All right, you are gone. But it's okay. Just I believe you still have those guys we were working with. I'm assuming, so don't worry about it. We got you. We're going to be making payments. All right. So it was flagged, and that was when it became an issue. Anyways, why was Barcelona making these payments? Pretty much, I'm going to paraphrase some of the reasons. One was technical refereeing reports, whatever that is. Another one was advice on referees' interpretation of the rules. Another one was to provide information that was going to be useful for the first team players. All right. Now, I'm thinking on how referees interpret the rules. Think about it. Or information, for the first team players. You think about it. Now, the irony here is both coaches, Luis Enrique and Ernesto Valverde, said, we never saw the reports. We never used it. And none of our staff members actually saw the report, so we don't know. Okay. But the report, was for information for the first team players. Or how the referees interpret the rules. So now, if those guys did not see those reports, those coaches did not see those reports, so they didn't actually use those reports So it means the players did not know. So which means either they are telling the truth or the board is lying. So Barcelona authorities, the higher ups, must be telling lies, because why would you pay for a report that is clearly supposed to be benefiting the coach and the players, but they didn't see it? So what were you paying for actually? What were you paying for? Okay. Now, if you flip that and just say, well, the board is actually saying the truth, but it's not so much about the report that was provided than whatever was happening, right, with the envelopes behind the scenes. Well, at some point, we know that the Barcelona players were very, very good at diving. Yes, I mean that was a trademark, except you want to deny it. But if you were watching La Liga at the time, you know that. Oh, Barcelona players will dive, and they still do. And we used to say it is something that they teach in La Masia, the academy. Yeah. So why that was the case? So it means if the coaches are telling lies, meaning they actually got this report and the referees advised them to be diving so they could get a course. I don't know. But I mean, either ways, like I said, someone is telling lies. Clearly. Because again, another thing I observed, and I'm pretty sure most of you guys did as well, was when you play a Barcelona player foul, you will see two, three, four other Barcelona players will rush at the ref at the same time. They will run 1,000 miles as fast as possible and get in the face of the referee. So why was that happening? Was that by coincidence, or they got the report like Luis Enrique and Ernesto Valverde are denying now? Or but like I said, the truth is somewhere, and someone obviously will get caught up here because coaches didn't see it. So why were you paying for it? I mean, that is the problem. And to just throw some more context, in the leadership of that Barcelona, Laporta said, and I'm going to paraphrase this: Perez is only talking right now because he pulled out of the Super League. All right, that is the ESL, the European Super League, that these big teams were trying to form to compete with UEFA, and he was able to strike a deal with UEFA, and that is why Perez is talking now. That is not a responsible response from a very good leader, because it doesn't make sense to me. I mean, you could say whatever it is you want to say without even talking about it, because now it seemed to me, I mean, me personally, right? It seems like this is someone who does not want to take accountability. Like he doesn't want to take responsibility. It was not Perez, all right, that asked you guys to make those payments in the first place. Because Perez, in his wildest imagination, would never at any given point in time think about, let me do this with someone in that position, because he should know it is unethical and that is not the Madrid standard at all. And if there's one thing about Perez, it is about protecting the reputation and image of Real Madrid as it should be in terms of being professional. Yeah. So you, Laporta, should not. I mean, it is a shame. All right. Like he's actually making a statement. Oh, Perez is saying this because of that. Really? Really? But you were asked about a couple of invoices, all right, that were made. You don't even know. Talking about, well, it's been over 20 years. Okay. So about 60,000 for aloe vera gifts. And they were talking about 139,000, I think, for what? For some payment that has to do with the World Cup. And the World Cup, I mean, was not even played yet. I mean, somebody make it make sense. I mean, that was the description. Digitalization of plays. Yes, I think that was the description. Can you imagine for the 2010 World Cup? I mean, wow. So at this point, if anyone at Barcelona, I'm not talking about the fans, all right? The fans we can banter. All right, we can go at each other all day long. That is cool. That is beautiful. It's all part of the game. But when you are in a position of authority, come on, you cannot be saying things like that. I mean, address the issue. You don't have to drag Perez into it. Perez has every right to speak because we all know what happens with those calls. What happened with those calls? We all know. So he has the right to talk. And you should not be in place to even say when he should be talking or when he shouldn't be talking. You should be worried about what should not have been done at Barcelona in the first place. Perhaps coming out and taking responsibility would have actually meant a lot. If we're being honest, if we're being sincere, to say, well, you know what, I don't think that was, I don't think that was ethical enough, right? If I was to do it differently, perhaps I would have consulted someone that is obviously outside of Spanish football. And I guarantee you, we saw how Serie A handled, match fixing. Juventus lost 2 titles. They were relegated. AC Milan had point deductions. Same thing with Fiorentina. Fiorentina, in fact, I think they were kicked out of UEFA qualifications and, something like that. And all these other teams, point deductions, players that were involved were suspended. Officials were suspended. Some were permanently let go. That is how you should be addressing things. All right. But not the Royal Federation of Spanish Football. Nope, nope, not La Liga. They don't care. I don't know why. But I guarantee you, if this was the FA in England, the Football Association in England, or the PGMOL, would have been different. It would have been different. We would have seen action. And you wonder why the EPL is far gone? Well, this could be part of it. They're really handling the game well in every facet. In every facet of it. But for La Liga, this is the issue. And you guys are stubborn to change. All right. Well, carry on with the publicity. Carry on with this type of show. Carry on with it. All right. Where people will be concerned about, no, I'm not really going to bother to watch La Liga because this is what is going on. I mean, well, it is what it is. But until then, as this continues to develop, I will definitely come back here and just bring it to you guys. But until then, stay blessed and peace out. Do not forget to like, follow, and share this content so you can help grow this channel together with me. Until then, have a blessed week.